Welcome back to the deep dive. It is January 18th, 2026. And I have to ask, have you been online this morning?
Oh, wow.
Because if you have, you've definitely felt it. The tech world is absolutely vibrating right now. It feels like the entire internet had too much coffee.
It is frantic out there. I haven't seen the timeline move this fast in years.
It really is. There is a massive rumor circulating, and I know we deal with rumors every week. Usually it's just a new phone color or a minor update.
Right.
But this one feels different. It feels heavier. The word on the street, and this is backed by some very specific leaks we're going to get into, is that Google might be on the very edge of announcing AGI, artificial general intelligence.
This is the moment everyone has been speculating about, arguing about, and, betting on for years. It's the holy grail of computer science.
It is.
And the question floating around the ecosystem today is stark and honestly a little bit ruthless. Is this the moment we actually say goodbye to ChatGPT?
It feels like we are standing on a precipice. So to help us navigate this, we are looking at a really comprehensive stack of sources today.
Yeah, we've got a lot to get through.
We've got a detailed analysis called Goodbye ChatGPT, Google Unleashes its AGI, which is kind of our anchor text. But we didn't stop there. We've also pulled industry predictions, some incredibly dense academic papers coming out of DeepMind.
On new architectures.
And crucial market data on that massive Apple-Google partnership that everyone is whispering about.
Our mission today is to strip away the Twitter hype, or X hype, I guess we're still calling it that, and look at the actual engineering.
Right.
Because when you see headlines about AGI, it is very, very easy to get carried away with the sci-fi of it all. We want to know if the math adds up.
Before we get into the weeds, though, let's pause and ground ourselves, because AGI is a term that gets abused constantly. It's become a marketing buzzword.
Oh, completely.
When we say Google might reveal AGI in 2026, we aren't just talking about a chatbot that writes better poetry or tells funnier jokes, are we?
No, and that distinction is vital. If you look at the sources we're analyzing, AGI is defined very specifically. It's intelligence that equals or exceeds human capability across a wide range of economic tasks.
A wide range, okay.
It's not just about retrieving information or predicting the next word in a sentence.
So it's the difference between a tool and a worker.
Exactly. We are talking about reasoning, planning, creating, and predicting. The source material uses a great metaphor here that I think really lands. It's the difference between an AI that can recite a recipe for Eggs Benedict because it read a food blog, and an autonomous agent that can physically figure out how to navigate a kitchen it's never seen before, find the ingredients, and actually cook the breakfast.
Metaphorically speaking, of course. Unless Google is releasing a robot chef I missed in the notes.
Metaphorically, yes, because the robotics teams are working on that too.
Yeah.
But in the digital sense, it's about agency, adaptability, the ability to figure things out on the fly.
So, okay, the stakes are incredibly high. We're talking about a fundamental shift in what software is. And looking at the timeline, 2026 isn't a random date. Why is everyone so fixated on this specific year?
If you look at the history, this window has been circled in red for a long time. The sources highlight that we are currently squarely in the window that Elon Musk specifically bet on. He went on record pointing to 2026 as the arrival date for AGI.
Musk makes a lot of predictions, though. I mean, we were supposed to be on Mars by now, and I'm definitely still sitting in a recording booth on Earth.
That's fair. But the source material gives us something more concrete from the engineers who are actually building the systems.
Okay.
It does. This isn't just external punditry or, billionaire optimism. We have data points from Shane Legg, the co-founder of DeepMind, and Dimas Hassabis, the CEO.
The people who would know.
These are the guys closer to the metal than anyone else. Hassabis specifically alluded to major breakthroughs in what they call continual learning that were slated for late 2025 and early 2026.
Continual learning. That sounds like a buzzword, but I know it's technical. We're going to pin that for a second because I want to get into the architecture. But first, the market sentiment. What are real people betting?
The betting markets are going absolutely wild. The sources cite recent discussions on prediction markets and platforms like X, where the aggregate probability of Google DeepMind achieving AGI in 2026 is sitting between 45% and 65%.
That is wildly high. Usually these things sit at 5% or 10% for something this revolutionary. We are talking about a coin flip or better that human history fundamentally changes this year.
It creates a strange atmosphere. It's not just maybe, it's probably. And it's not just abstract betting. There is a very tangible market move that supports this confidence. we have to talk about the Apple connection.
Right, the collaboration to power Siri with Gemini. I think a lot of people just saw that as a business deal, but the sources treat it as something much bigger.
This isn't just a software update where Siri gets a slightly better voice or can finally pronounce your name right. The source material argues that this is a massive distribution strategy.
How so?
By integrating Gemini deep into the iOS ecosystem, Google isn't just releasing a product. They are putting an advanced, potentially AGI-like system
Into the pockets of millions of users instantly.
instantly.
It sets the stage for mass adoption overnight. You don't have to sign up for a new service. You don't have to verify your email or download an app.
It's just
No.
there, precisely.
Yeah.
And that scale is necessary if you want to test and refine an AGI system in the real world. You need edge cases. You need messy data.
You need people asking it weird questions at 3 a.m.
Exactly. Apple gives them that access immediately.
Okay, so the prophecy is there, the betting markets are hot, and the distribution is locked in. But I want to get to the how, because for the last few years, ChatGPT has been the undisputed king. It's the brand name. Is Google just throwing more computing power at the problem?
That's the common assumption, the brute force approach.
Yeah.
Just add more chips, right? But the sources say no. It's not just about bigger computers. It's about a fundamental change in architecture. This is where we need to open up that 2025 Google research paper on Titans.
Titans. It's a very dramatic name, very cinematic. What is the actual engineering breakthrough there?
The core concept is infinite memory.
Okay, let's explain that, because infinite memory sounds like marketing speak. What does it mean for a neural network?
Well, think about how large language models have worked up until now. They have a context window. You can feed them a book, maybe two, but eventually, as the conversation goes on, the window fills up. They forget the beginning. They lose the thread.
Right. It's like talking to a friend who has strict short-term amnesia. Every 20 minutes, the slate wipes clean and you have to reintroduce yourself.
Exactly. It limits complexity. Titans changes that architecture. It allows for long-term memory retention. It creates a system that can remember the context of a relationship, a project, or a complex instruction set over weeks, months, or potentially years.
So it doesn't just process the now, it retains the history.
That's it.
That is a game changer for utility. If I'm working on a coding project that takes 3 months, I don't want to re-explain the architecture to the AI every morning.
You won't have to.
Huh.
It remembers. But memory is only half the equation. The other half is what we pinned earlier, continual learning. The sources point to a specific DeepMind study on the Mira's architecture.
Mira's. So Titans is the memory, Mira's is the learning.
Right. They are complementary pieces of the same puzzle. The aha moment here is comparing this to how ChatGPT has historically worked. We've all seen that message on ChatGPT. My knowledge cutoff is right.
My knowledge cutoff is 2023. It's frustrating. You asked about the Super Bowl that happened yesterday, and it just hallucinates.
It's a limitation of static weights. The model was trained, and then it was frozen. The source uses a brilliant analogy here. Comparing old static models to Mira's is like comparing a landline telephone to a smartphone.
I like that. The landline is useful, reliable even, but it's a fixed point. It doesn't upgrade itself. It doesn't get new apps.
Exactly. A landline is static. Mira's enables the AI to learn in real time. It doesn't need to be taken offline and retrained for months, costing millions. It learns as it goes, absorbing new information and adjusting its understanding instantly.
So if a new programming language drops or a major news event happens, Mira's adapts immediately. It's not waiting for GPT-5 or GPT-6.
That's the promise. It's evolving constantly.
Yeah.
It effectively makes the concept of versions obsolete. You just have the AI, and the AI is always current.
Do we have numbers on this? Because theoretical architecture is one thing, but does it actually work?
The performance metrics back it up. The sources mention verified data from Google's internal experiments. These new architectures combining Titans and Mira's are showing improvements on benchmarks like GLUE and Super GLUE.
Those are the standard S8 tests for AI, essentially.
They are. And we aren't talking about marginal 1% or 2% gains. They're seeing improvements of 20% to 30% annually.
Wow.
In the world of AI research, where people fight for decimal points, that is a massive leap. That is generation-skipping performance.
So we have infinite memory via Titans, we have continual learning via Myars, and we have the benchmarks to prove it works. Let's bring this back to the cage match. Google versus OpenAI.
The battle of the Titans.
If we look at the tail of the tape in our sources, how do they stack up? Let's start with the incumbent, ChatGPT. Why is it vulnerable right now?
Well, ChatGPT has had rockstar status since 2022. It defined the category. Its strength has always been creativity and accessibility.
It captured the public imagination.
It did. But its weakness, according to the analysis, is that dependency on massive, expensive compute runs. It's a frozen problem again.
Right.
And crucially, it has less access to real-time proprietary data compared to Google. OpenAI has to go out and license data. Google is the data.
That brings us to the challenger, Google and Gemini.
Google's strengths are formidable. First, the data advantage. They have YouTube. I mean, think about that. That's billions of hours of video and audio training data. They have search. They have hardware integration like Waymo for self-driving data.
Now the Apple ecosystem.
And now Apple. There was a really interesting analogy in the source material describing this. They compared the AI to a chef.
Yes, I loved this one.
So if ChatGPT makes a really good stew, it's comforting, it's reliable, it tastes good. Google is like a master chef who is inventing a dish using ingredients from another planet.
Because they have access to data modalities that OpenAI simply doesn't have in the same volume.
Exactly. OpenAI is cooking with ingredients they bought at the store. Google owns the farm. And the scale matters. The sources discuss Galaxy AI.
That's the Samsung implementation, right?
Yes. We're talking about the expansion of Galaxy AI to 800 million devices.
800 million. That number is staggering.
It creates a feedback loop that OpenAI cannot easily match. Every time one of those users interacts with the AI, the system learns a little bit more, especially with that mirror-ass architecture. It's a data flywheel that spins faster and faster.
The more you use it, the smarter it gets. The smarter it gets, the more you use it.
You got it. And this leads to a pivot in how we use these things. The sources cite an analysis from marketing profs that talks about the shift from answering questions to performing tasks.
This feels like the user-facing side of AGI.
This is the shift to agents. This is the core of the AGI promise. Google is positioning its AI not just as a super search engine that you talk to, but as an agent that can execute complex workflows.
So differentiate that for me. What's the difference between a chatbot workflow and an agent workflow?
Okay, let's take a travel example. Chatbot workflow. You ask, what are the best hotels in Chicago? It gives you a list.
Right. I'm still doing the legwork. The bot is just a really smart brochure.
Exactly. An agent workflow is, book me a room in Chicago for these dates under this price and put it on my calendar.
And it just does it.
It navigates the websites, handles the transaction, sends you the confirmation, and maybe even emails your boss to say you'll be away. One gives you information, the other gives you time.
That sounds amazing for my travel planning, honestly. But let's zoom out. We need to talk about the so what here. If AGI really hits in 2026, if this isn't just hype, what happens to the world? What happens to the economy?
The economic implications are massive. The sources mention a prediction of 10% GDP growth, driven purely by AI efficiency.
10%. That is an industrial revolution level of growth. That's unheard of in mature economies.
It is. It's unprecedented in modern times. It implies a productivity boom we haven't seen since maybe the invention of electricity. But of course, that growth comes with a flip side. We have to look at the labor market.
The sources bring in a study from MIT published in 2025. What's the verdict there? Because usually we hear the comforting line, AI will take away tasks, not jobs.
It's getting shakier. The study is a double-edged sword. On one hand, massive strides in healthcare, climate change solutions. But the risk is the potential for mass unemployment.
Because if the AI is an agent, as we just described, it's not just helping you. If it can plan, execute, and remember, it's potentially doing your job.
Exactly. The MIT study highlights that AGI threatens to automate complete jobs rather than just specific tasks. If you are a scheduler, a data analyst, a junior coder, the agent doesn't just help you. It might replace the need for your role entirely.
That is heavy. It shifts the conversation from productivity tool to replacement. But I think it's important to note not everyone is convinced this is happening right now. We have to visit the skeptics' corner.
We do. Balance is key. We can't just drink the Kool-Aid. The sources cite Jad Tarifi, a former Google employee who provides a necessary reality check. He warns about the vague definitions of AGI.
What's his main criticism? Is he saying the tech doesn't work?
He's arguing there is a credibility gap. He says just because a machine passes a benchmark, even if it improves by 30%, that doesn't mean it has human-like sentience or true reasoning. It might just be very, very good at mimicking reasoning.
Right. It's the Chinese room argument, isn't it?
It is.
Remind the listeners what that is, because I think it's such a crucial philosophical check on all this hype.
So imagine you are in a locked room with a massive book of rules. People slide notes, written in Chinese, under the door. You don't speak Chinese, but the rule book says if you see these shapes, send out those shapes.
Hmm.
You follow the rules, you slide the response back out. To the person outside, you seem fluent, but inside, you have no idea what you're saying. You're just matching patterns.
You're just symbol processing. You aren't thinking.
Exactly. Tarifi warns that we shouldn't confuse better performance with consciousness. We might be building a supercalculator, not a supermind.
That is a fascinating distinction. It might look like AGI, act like AGI, but inside, nobody is home.
Which is almost spookier in a way.
It really is.
Yeah, okay.
So where does that leave us? Let's try to wrap this up. We are looking at January 2026. The rumors are flying. We have the Titans architecture providing infinite memory. We have Miras offering continual learning.
And a distribution network via Apple and Samsung that reaches billions. It feels like the pieces are all on the board. Whether you call it AGI or just a massive leap forward, the evidence suggests that the era of the simple chatbot is ending.
We are moving into the era of the agent.
The era of the agent. It shifts the AI from the screen to the real world. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it raises an important question for everyone listening.
What's the final thought?
The question derived from the source material is this. If AGI arrives this year and truly automates cognitive labor, which human job is actually safe?
Wow.
If the machine can learn, remember, and execute, what is left exclusively for us?
That is slightly terrifying, but also a fascinating thing to chew on. Is creativity safe? Is
No.
empathy safe? Or are those just next on the list?
It's the question of the decade, and we might get the answer sooner than we think.
Absolutely. Well, look, we don't want to leave you in a state of existential dread. We want you to engage with this. So here's a call to action for you. Run your own test today. Open up Gemini. Open up ChatGPT. Give them both a truly creative task.
Right. Don't ask them to summarize an email. Ask them to invent something. Ask them to solve a logic puzzle that requires multi-step reasoning. Ask them to plan a surprise party for a toddler with a budget of $50.
See if you can spot the difference between reasoning and just predicting. See if you can catch them in the Chinese room.
It's amazing what you can see when you look closely at the output. You can see the seams.
It really is.
Yeah.
And let us know what you find. We are going to keep tracking this story because if 2026 is the year of AGI, we have a lot more deep dives to do. Thanks for listening and stay curious.
See you next time.